Hey guys, welcome to Brickstars. In today's video, we're going to be looking at the most expensive minifigure in each CMF series. So the CMF series are the LEGO Collectible Minifigures. So these were introduced first in 2010. You can see here is Series 1, and they've kept it going up until present day. So we're actually going to be receiving the newest series here in a couple of weeks. But everything from 2010 to 2024, we've received a lot of minifigures, and typically collectible minifigures kind of range in different themes. You can see here they have kind of this Frenchman with a pug, some space minifigures, some modern day safari adventure type minifigures, and what's really cool is they've been a great release of different parts. So a lot of unique animals, accessories come from the minifigure series lineup, and not to mention the rare minifigures themselves. Of course, none is more rare than Mr. Gold, who was part of the Series 10 minifigure series, kind of a surprise minifigure in that wave, and he was only introduced in a limited run, so I think there was only a couple thousand produced of him. And if you were lucky enough to grab a bag with Mr. Gold, you would see the price for him is pretty crazy nowadays. So everything from about $5,000 here in Canada all the way up to 15. Really rare minifigure, very expensive, and he's obviously going to stand out. But each wave, each series has kind of a minifigure that's been maybe the most popular, but also the most expensive. So that's what we're going to look at in today's video. We're going to focus in only on the regular minifigure series, not the Marvel or the Disney ones, just kind of the Lego standard minifigure series. So let's kick it off with Series 1. Again, introduced in 2010. This was a great way to start this series, or this theme that Lego does every year now, or a couple times a year. So you can see they've got a nice assortment of minifigures here. And what we really love about this one is they kind of have a nod to some of the 90s classics, 90s system sets. So everything from Western, you have some space themes, you've got the Forestman, you have the ninja representation, the city lineup with the medical hospital person here, and then a couple unique little minifigures. Obviously the divers, a big influence in the late 90s. So we think this was a great lineup. Lots of cool minifigures. You can tell they don't have as many accessories or maybe unique pieces as some of the newer series do, but what a great way to start. And one thing we're going to be doing throughout this video is kind of taking our guess which minifigure we think ends up being the most expensive. But in this series, it's going to be no surprise for us that it's the Forestman. So this is a minifigure that obviously plays nod to the classic Lego Forestman lineup with the hunter's hat, the feather, the bow and arrow, very Robin Hood-esque. And he just looks great with the arms, the printing here. Little simple by today's standards, but a beautiful minifigure, and it'll set you back about $27 US if you wanted to buy him right now. So we're lucky enough to have this one in our collection, but definitely a great looking minifigure. Series 2 brought a couple different minifigures. You can see here they took a step away from some of those original Lego themes, but still some references. You could say that the vampire is kind of the Monster Fighters or Studios throwback. They've got this karate guy, the adventurers mummy almost remade here. So Paradisa showing up here. Again, some references, but overall, we'd say Series 1 was maybe a bit better for us than Series 2. But it's nice that they kept it going. So this wave, the most expensive minifigure is the Spartan Warrior. I'm not sure how the timing worked out with the 300 movie, but he does look very much like the actors in that movie. You can see he's got the chest plate here, the arms, the metallic spear. Obviously, would have been nice to see some printing on the shield, but nonetheless, kind of around that same price range, 25 US is what this minifigure will set you back. Next up in Series 3, this is where really it starts to feel like, okay, the minifigure lineup is here to stay. And this is where I think people really started collecting these more and more as far as the complete sets. You can see here we have an assortment of minifigures as well. Maybe one of our favorite minifigures to come out of the whole LEGO minifigures lineup is this Elf minifigure. And of course the Chief minifigure. If you know, we're big fans of Westerns, so look how perfectly this minifigure ties in with the old 90s Western theme. But he was not the most expensive. The Elf was. So Bricks and Minifigures, they do a great job of photographing and selling these minifigures, and you can see the detail print on this one, the shield, the Elf dual molded headpiece there. At the time, I think this bow was pretty rare, the large bow, so no surprise that he's at about $30 American there. Very, very rare minifigure, and works great in a lot of castle settings, and almost has kind of this Lord of the Rings elf vibe to it as well. Obviously the shield with the deer on there, the stag, kind of plays homage to the Forestman as well, so we think that's played into the price of this minifigure. Next up, Series 4. This was also a very cool series, but probably not as good as some of the previous ones in our opinion. There's a couple cool minifigures, but in general, a lot of these kind of more, we call them city-oriented minifigures, they don't really appeal to us as much. So, but what we did like is the Musketeer in this lineup and the Viking. And I think this was kind of around the time when Vikings were pretty popular, and we thought he would be the most expensive. But we were actually wrong. The most expensive minifigure in this series was the hazmat suit guy. So this is an interesting minifigure. One, the color, this helmet piece, very simple print, but it has a nice pop to it, the orange and the black there, and his face is pretty iconic. Like, that worried face could work in so many applications. So he'll set you back about $18 US. Not crazy, but again, for just a minifigure, if you shop for minifigures online, you'll know they kind of range in the $5 range. So anything over and above that, it's somewhat of a special minifigure. Series 5 brought a couple different costume minifigures, and again, some references to old themes. But what we really liked in this one is the dwarf minifigure. The mobster here looked really cool. We get an introduction of the monkey piece, so you can see they're kind of adding some more accessories and really not just giving us a minifigure alone in the set. Now keep in mind, a lot of these minifigures in this stage came in sealed packets that you would feel to collect them, so not like nowadays where you could scan them. And so here we have the Graduate, which this one really surprised us. We didn't think that he would be the most expensive one in this series, but for a whopping $24 US, that's his price. We definitely thought the dwarf with the shield and the prints would take it, but maybe this is one where it's maybe people who aren't LEGO fans necessarily, but are buying it as a gift or kind of as a novelty for someone who's just graduated university or high school. But in general, a simpler print. The tile is also a printed piece. The hat is cool, but we didn't think it would definitely price this high. Series 6, this one featured a couple warriors, and this is where we think they started to kind of take it to the next level. This is one of our overall maybe top recommended series for a couple of reasons. You can see at the top here this cowboy, again, fans of Western, what an awesome looking bandit. This minifigure here, the Minotaur with the bull molded head, really cool piece. The genie looks great. This kind of Scottish warrior, the Roman warrior, the leprechaun, the butcher. I remember when we got this originally just loving this T-bone steak piece. This dancer or singer lady, the alien. So really great bunch. None of these is kind of a basic minifigure. They all have something cool and unique about them. And this one was really hard to pick which one would end up being the most expensive. Honestly, The Minotaur could be it. The Western Bandit is a great looking minifigure. The Genie had some cool parts. So as you'll see, the most expensive one though goes to the Roman Warrior. So this is one that probably because LEGO hasn't done a lot of Roman Warrior type sets or minifigures, that he's gone up in price so much. But you'll see in a second here how much. With the shield, the printing, the helmet, very unique. So if you're looking to build an army of these guys, it'll cost you a pretty penny. So they've definitely appreciated nicely to $32 American. This minifigure, when it was out, was probably selling for $2 or $3 to buy it new. So a lot of these older series, you'll see they have higher prices. Obviously, LEGO is one of those things that over time, as the set or the minifigure becomes more rare, the price goes up, and obviously the supply kind of dwindles. So Series 7, I just love the cover photo of this one. I think they chose some great minifigures here at the front. So with this kind of space soldier, if you will, or mech, not really a mech, but soldier, almost like a Poseidon minifigure, some knights. And you can see, again, following up from the previous minifigure series, they've started to really take it to the next level with dual molding, more detailed accessories, refined prints. Every minifigure kind of gets something. And this is a star-studded cast. So you look at we'll call him Mermaid King, his price point, this Viking warrior lady, the knight, the evil knight, the Aztec warrior. What great minifigures. Each of these close to $30 Canadian, $20 American, whatever it may be. This series overall, I think, has maybe the highest price total for all the minifigures. But the one that stands above is the Bagpiper. So kind of a surprise here. I thought the Aztec warrior maybe would have taken this one, but at $33 Canadian, you can see the Bagpiper. He's got a very interesting face, a detailed hat. He came with this fabric piece around the legs, like kilt. Almost forgot what that's called. And the bagpipes, $24 American. Really cool minifigure. This is one that we picked up. No reason. Normally we like to pick up Western or Castle minifigures, but something about this one we just had to have, and it actually turned out to be a pretty good investment. So next up, Series 8. Looking at these minifigures, what I love about this series is they've started to integrate minifigures from waves of themes that they had going on at the time. And specifically, you'll see I'm referring to this alien queen, but that's not the only one. A couple minifigures in this series do pay homage to some of the sets that were out at the time. Alien Conquest, you see these aliens here. It was kind of a space theme that honestly was very cool, very interesting minifigures, and kind of the bad guys, or the aliens if you will, had this look to them. And the wave featured an alien king, and so we thought it was really cool that they brought in the alien queen through the collectible minifigure series, and we love when they do that. So you'll see there's a couple examples when LEGO's done that, and it just, if you've collected the whole wave, it just gives it that extra little bit of something. So you can see they had kind of the alien admiral or king, and to pair him perfectly with this series from the CMF lineup was really, really cool, we thought. But she was surprisingly not the most expensive. Looking at this wave, you know, I would think maybe this captain, the Conquistador. We just love this Oktoberfest minifigure, and you know, featuring this hunter hat in dark green is pretty rare. So things like that often play a huge part in the minifigure's pricing. And this kind of Shakespearean actor went great with castle sets. So the most expensive minifigure in this lineup was actually the Conquistador. So this one always gives us kind of the Imperial Armada vibes. And those minifigures are very expensive as well. So you can see he features these metallic pearl gold type accents, beautiful breastplate piece. The pants, the colors, really good looking minifigure. We love the face print on this one, and no surprise, he's also about $24 American. So to put into perspective, a lot of these other minifigures kind of range around that $8 mark. The cheapest we've seen is maybe $4. So all collectible minifigures are a bit of a premium to regular minifigures, but this guy in particular at $24. So next up, Series 9. Wow, this one had a lot of minifigures that we got for our collection. The one that we really missed out on getting was the Julius Caesar and this mech piece. Something about this just looks really cool to me, but we're lucky to have a couple of these. So you can see there's this, again, kind of like in a previous series where they had the good guy space soldier. Here they have almost this alien looking bad guy, and that's another cool thing about these series, that a couple series will go by and they'll introduce a minifigure that pairs with a previous series. So for example, this Cyclops guy here, I think in a future minifigure series he's gonna get a girlfriend, but similarly for a lot of them we've seen that happen. So we really liked this series, and it was another one where it was kind of hard to pick which one would be the most expensive. You can see both the Fortune Teller and the Heroic Knight have done really well. This minifigure almost $40 with the detailed shield, the armor. Castle figs generally tend to always do great, but this series goes to the Forest Maiden, and not a huge surprise. I mean, she had this great hairpiece, very versatile torso and dress piece, and this unique shield piece that works great for Forest Man or just Castle in general. Really premium looking minifigure, and over $50 Canadian for her now. So super expensive minifigure, and you can see they even reference it here that could also be used for other forest dwelling female characters. They reference the romance between the Forestman figure from Series 1. So maybe no surprise that she's the most expensive one in this series. And here we go, Series 10. Like we said, Mr. Gold was the most expensive one overall, but he actually wasn't listed as one of the minifigures here. So he was kind of he was a surprise minifigure that you really didn't know about until you kind of got him. But another cool minifigure lineup with a couple of different historic minifigures, and you can see these high-res images that kind of show the details of the prints. So if we had to guess for this lineup, I would think the Medusa minifigure is one that sticks out. You know, she's got this cool hairpiece. The Colonial Soldier, if he had some more accessories, maybe would work great. The Captain can tie in with a couple, if you had the old bait shop set, ties really nicely into that. But if we had to guess, again, Medusa or this kind of also looks like a Roman warrior to me. Really cool looking minifigure, this helmet piece. But this series was maybe the biggest surprise for us. And you're going to see, take a moment, guess which one you would think is the most expensive. And I'd be surprised if more than 10% of people got this one. It's not the Sea Captain, who comes in at over $24 Canadian. It's actually not Medusa either, at almost $40. This Roman commander was a bit cheaper than we expected, actually. We thought he'd be higher. So what does that leave? Well, it leaves the Bumblebee minifigure. I really don't know what drives the price of this one. It is a cool looking minifigure. We do like the colors, the headpiece. I don't know if this honey bowl was maybe what's driving it, but it's outstanding to think that this minifigure is almost $50 Canadian, 33 American. Yeah, I don't know if you have some insight. Let us know in the comments why this minifigure's price is so high, but cool to see, to be surprised like that sometimes. Series 11, this one continues on with, like we said, pairing some of those minifigures. So if you remember, we got the robot a couple minifigure series ago in blue, and here we have one with the pink. Islander reference. Here's another warrior minifigure. But what's really cool is they give random minifigures that you can really tie into your Lego city or make some great scenes with. Here we have this Oktoberfest girl, again tying into the Oktoberfest guy from a couple minifigure series ago, and some Christmas minifigures. So generally great looking set. I think this was a well-received series. A really cool looking mech here, one that we missed out on. And the Scarecrow is probably one that I really wish we got. I love the headpiece. I love the torso. I think it could work great in everything from like a city farm scene to a medieval scene. Really cool looking minifigure. Tough to pick the most expensive one here. Oh gosh, I would say maybe even this guy looks pretty cool. I would say the Scarecrow. I think, and that just, when I've tried to buy him on Bricklink a couple times, I've noticed his price is pretty high. But let's take a look, and it's actually the Islander. So I guess I shouldn't be too surprised. This headpiece is a fantastic detail and ties in beautifully with other Islander minifigures and the Islander wave. So actually we do have him in our collection, and we've been meaning to do kind of a remake of the Islander sets and include him in there, because he is a great looking minifigure and he's just over $30 American. And as you've noticed, we've been using Bricklink as kind of our reference for prices for these minifigures. Of course, you can get them on eBay or Brick Owl or other third-party sites, but to stay consistent, we've used Bricklink, and we think it's a pretty fair assessment of the value of these minifigures. So it makes sense that he's the most expensive one in that series. Series 12, you can see they've gone back to the yellow color here. We try and keep the background matching the theme, and a lot of them use yellow, the classic Lego yellow. This one, we really liked a couple minifigures from here, namely the castle ones, the wizard, the jester. This miner works great for a western scene. There's another castle figure here with the princess. But I would say overall this series maybe wasn't as great as some of the other ones. The wizard took the top spot here. Obviously, this is a reference to the 90s Lego Magisto wizard. You can see they kept the blue, updated the beard, very Dumbledore-esque looking, but what a great print. I do like the new kind of hat piece without the brim, kind of something different. And the cape is really cool with these shiny, almost foil details. So great looking minifigure. I'm not surprised actually that he takes the top spot here, but not a crazy price either, $15 USD. What's more frustrating is honestly that when they released the Magisto set recently, that they didn't give us a minifigure at this scale, instead just a simple blue torso, but that's neither here nor there. We'll keep rolling with Series 13. And wow, another one that I think they knocked out of the park, both in terms of the accessories you get, the references to the previous minifigures, and the variety of themes that they captured. So the king here is one that stands out. This dual molded crown piece is just so perfect. The cape also came in 2 parts, and yeah, it's maybe a little cartoony and not as realistic as some of their other castle minifigures, but we love the color balance in this one. It really pops. And he's a pretty rare minifigure. I think using chrome for the sword may have been a bit better, but $27 USD puts him kind of on the upper end of a lot of these minifigures. So definitely a very desirable minifigure. We really do love the headpiece on this one. We think it works great on a lot of different minifigures. Next up, Series 14. This one was a little interesting because this one is maybe the only time they've officially, other than the space one recently, that they've officially branded the minifigure wave as kind of a sub-theme. So you can see here they've called it Monsters. Obviously very Halloween inspired, different kind of monsters, for lack of a better word. But this one ties in great with if you're a fan of the Studios line or the Monster Fighter series, but you get a little bit of everything here. And still, they did play a bit of a reference. You can see the witch here, kind of like Willa from Fright Nights, the crazy professor, Frankenstein, werewolf. This insect kind of gave us vibes of the old space insectoids. This guy looks like the White Yeti that we saw previously, and this gargoyle minifigure was really cool. So this is a tough one for us to try and guess, but the witch came out on top. Not crazy, $10. Maybe this theme wasn't as popular. There's nothing really that is too crazy here, but she did have a lot of interesting printing, so $10, nothing crazy. Series 15, moving it along. This one brings us the pig piece, which, if you know these pigs, we much prefer this kind of nougat color of pig. They're a lot pricier than the pink pigs that we're more accustomed to now. The skunk piece, also very cool. And anytime you get castle minifigures, you're bound to do pretty good. So the tournament knight, the queen, this kind of I forget what they're called now, but with the flute, and again a Native American tying in with Western. So really good variety in this minifigure series. And anytime you get kind of new molds for animals, that's a plus. So a lot of the animals in our collection we get from these minifigure series lineup. And the tournament bear knight, I think they called him the scary knight or fright knight, comes out on top here. No surprise with the armor, the helmet, the shield. We recently did a design of black bear knights that's kind of very similar to this, but this guy looked pretty bad. You can see he's got this weapon, the armor, the color here. We have him in our collection, and we're fortunate to do so because he'd set us back about $26 now, so not a cheap minifigure by any means. Series 16, we're almost there, guys. We've got a couple more to go. It's crazy how fast time flies. It feels like these were released last year, but Series 16 is already 10 minifigure series ago. Lots of cool parts in this one. If we had to pick which one would take the top spot, this queen is pretty cool. I think, like a lot of these pieces, the cape, obviously the rogue here for us is a fan favorite. It wouldn't surprise me if the banana suit guy takes it. You know, this is one that you could have a lot of fun with in the city. He's kind of a cool looking mascot. The penguin piece here, it may have been the first time it appeared. A new dog piece here. So let's see which one takes the top spot, and it's the rogue. Again, anytime you do castle, you're gonna do well. This one in particular, you see that wolf there. Of course, they're bringing back the wolf pack in the new minifigure series, but this minifigure looks great. You could swap the torso, you could use the legs somewhere else, and no surprise that he's about $17. I actually thought he'd be a little bit more, but maybe if he had a specialized accessory. But the torso and legs alone are definitely one of our favorites, and we do have him in our collection as well. So Series 17, something different here. They kind of blacked out this minifigure, so we don't know what he is. And one thing to mention is, up until now, all of the series have had 16 minifigures to collect. I think around Series 21, we'll see they drop it down to just the 12, but let's go through these minifigures. So you can see the popcorn guy, there's another kind of dwarf warrior, another elf warrior, and then the mysterious minifigure, which ends up being this almost pirate looking minifigure. Couple cool ones here to draw your attention to. So the space guy, we love the color of the cape, his torso, kind of like the Futurama, or sorry, Jetsons style cartoon. This nurse minifigure always reminds us of Jennifer Aniston. Not sure if that's by coincidence or by design. Neat detail on the pie piece here. These mascot minifigures are always cool because they've had different ones over the years. So whether it's a carrot or peas, or in this case a cob of corn, it's cool to collect those. And then the dwarf minifigure here looks really cool. So I would guess the dwarf takes it. He's got 2 weapons, detailed print. I do really like the bold red facial hair on this guy, but kind of surprised. Maybe not. Maybe some of you aren't. The gray rocket suit guy takes it. Why? It's actually because the torso. So you can see here the gray torso on this minifigure. There's a lot of people that try and collect all the different colors of the classic Lego spacemen. So the blue, the red, the yellow, the black, the white. And then recently with pink, orange, here we have gray. And a lot of times the only way to get that color is through the collectible minifigure series. So this is one that sets you back $26. Again, we're thinking a lot of that is driven by that torso piece itself. Series 18. This one was kind of a costume themed. It wasn't formally branded as such, but you can clearly see it's kind of like a birthday costume party type series. One that didn't really do it for us a whole lot. We did like this cowboy minifigure. The torso print was great. I think that's probably the only one we have from this lineup. The shield here may have been cool, but really fun looking minifigures. So I guess they can't always do historic or castle ones, but they did reference the old police officer from this set at 600 as part of the 40th anniversary. And very simple looking minifigure, very nice homage to the original, basically exact. You can see they even have the box art on there, so that's cool. And he actually takes the top spot in this series, so surprising for a very simple minifigure to be $20. Clearly there's a lot of nostalgia here, so that's driven up his price. Series 19. Here we go. This is another one where we think they take it to the next level. And why do we say that? Well, look at the amount of accessories that you're getting. Each minifigure almost has something that's either unique or very rare. So something like this fox costume, well, this chicken is a very rare color. I think it only appeared in this color with this minifigure. An updated Johnny Thunder with a chameleon piece. A new Fright Night with the shield in reference to the Fright Night from the 90s. 2 new dog pieces. What a cute dachshund dog here. A green ducky. So really, really cool lineup. You get this Monkey King warrior minifigure that again ties with the Monkey Kid set wave. So definitely lots of appeal across different themes in this one. Another space Blacktron soldier. So really, really great series. I think we've got a couple of them, and we do have this Fright Night, so he takes the top spot. Not too surprised here. Again, the torso print, the leg printing, very detailed. The color of the helmet, and we get this new shield. Anytime you have a Lego shield that's new, you're gonna do pretty well. So we thought it was kind of a weird choice to use the translucent blue here. In our case, we would definitely swap it with kind of a regular minifigure face, but this is more kind of a ghostly look to them. So $29 American, that's pretty high, maybe one of the higher ones we've seen to date, especially with Lego releasing the Vampire Lord in a recent series. That's probably driven this price up because now people want both of them. So great looking minifigure, not too surprised it's done so well. Series 20, here we go. I was talking about the costume minifigures. There's the Snap Peas costume. This one I remember thinking like, oh wow, finally a sea turtle when they released it. And what's cool is they start to release different athletes too. So you could collect a javelin thrower here. Some other series have different runners. But Power Ranger, I'm surprised we haven't seen another color of a Power Ranger since then. Pretty cool looking minifigure. And I guess this must have been the 10-year anniversary of them, which makes sense. Series 10 was in 2020. Yeah. This one was really cool. One thing that surprised us too is that we haven't seen this pinata piece appear in a recolor. A lot of times they'll introduce a piece in the minifigure series lineup and then recolor it later on. Like, it would have been really cool to have this as kind of an actual Lego donkey piece. They've done something like that with the sea turtles. I think they come in a couple colors now, but let's take a look in which one we would think is the most expensive. Obviously Raven Knight, Pirate, Viking. That's the way I would lean. Maybe the Viking, his helmet piece is new, the shield is unique. Let's see how we do there. And he would run you over $40 Canadian, so not cheap, but not the most expensive. So taking this series is the Raven Knight, the Tournament Knight. Beautiful colors on this one, very unique. Something Lego hasn't done in the past is that color combo. Great looking armor, and ties in perfectly with Castle minifigures that we see today, like the Lion Knights and the Black Falcons. And honestly, that's probably driven up his price. What a great looking face print as well. You can see the facial hair and the mustache, the shading on that. So really cool minifigure. I wish we got more of these. We're lucky to have one, but $47 American. Could you imagine trying to build an army of these guys? Like, that would set you back hundreds of dollars. So there is guys on YouTube and Instagram that we've seen that do have a couple of these guys, and we're very jealous of that. So there you go. Definitely buy multiples of any minifigure you like, because once they stop producing them, they go up in price. Series 21, let's run through it quickly here. Couple interesting minifigures that we thought. The Space Police reference, this Amazon warrior with this shield print, and this minifigure here, the Sagittarius type minifigure. So again, this is when they were in plastic bags that you could feel. So she was one that was really easy to point out, because obviously you could feel the bigger piece. This ladybug here. So this is one, normally if you asked me which one was most expensive, I wouldn't say the ladybug, but maybe there's something going on with why the bumblebee was the most expensive. So I would guess the ladybug matches her, and maybe there's some collection going on there, but it's not. It's actually this ancient Amazon warrior, and not too surprised. This is one maybe I would have normally picked. The weapon, the shield, the headpiece, amazing details. You have prints on the arms, the legs, the torso, the side of the helmet. Cannot imagine how many different layers of the factory this minifigure had to go through, but really cool looking minifigure. And he'll set you back only about, what is that, $10 American. So nothing crazy there. Not sure why that happened. Series 22. This one had a couple fan favorites, namely the Bard, which saw kind of a return of this Forestman looking print. Another Knight. I just love this toucan bird. I think they did a great job here. And this robot, also pretty cool. An interesting, almost Snow Knight. I think this is the series where maybe we have most of the minifigures. We really love the pony in this one, the bird, the mushroom guy here, his helmet really cute. So obviously here you have kind of a Paralympic athlete, figure skater, another food mascot, the chili pepper. So tough to say which one takes the top spot. Lots of great minifigures here. Again, we have a bunch of them, but you may be surprised to know that actually this quirky looking alien space minifigure takes the top spot. And it is a really detailed minifigure, unique headpiece, the printed arms and legs, but that's not why it takes the top spot. Remember I was talking about the gray spaceman torso? Well, the purple one is unique here. And you can see here's the original, well, most of the original spacemen. So this now gives you the purple color. And again, people who want to collect all of them, this is your way to get it. So that drives up the price. Over $20 Canadian, probably $15 American for that one. Series 23, this is another one that was almost themed, but not branded as such. Kind of a, almost like a holiday theme, you could say. Costume, holiday theme. Between Christmas and fairies and Thanksgiving and so on. Not our favorite theme, to be honest, but a couple cool minifigures. And you can see this elf minifigure with the braids is really nice. The snowman was kind of cool. This, obviously, Titanic vibes. Great remake of the captain there. And if you know us, you know we love this minifigure. The green dragon pairs nicely with the red dragon from a couple series ago. So top spot here doesn't surprise us. It's this knight minifigure. So not only do you get a knight, you get a lot of cool accessories with this one. So the helmet, the plume, the chest piece, the torso's printed, and this which is toy headpiece, horse headpiece, which is in reference to an old Lego toy, but it works great for mocks, for stables, things like that. Obviously a reference to the old Lego Yellow Castle Knights. You can see it's a remake of those original knights, and this is what really excites castle fans, is anytime we see Lego returning to their roots like they did in the Lion Knights castle. We see a lot of that, so not too surprised that this minifigure takes the top spot. Not crazy expensive, but about $10 American for that one. Getting into series 24, you'll notice a lot of these minifigure prices aren't as crazy as some of the original series, and that's to be expected. They're still newer. There's probably a lot of them that you can buy on Bricklink, but if you are thinking about getting them, get them now, because surely in a couple years their price will be much higher. We loved this lineup. The Orc was really cool. The Black Falcon Knight, again, they've released a couple sets at this point with the Black Falcons in them, and they all have the same torso print. So what a great way to give us another different print for the Black Falcons that you could kind of update your armies. This is another mech minifigure that we really loved. We actually took some photos of him. Some of our favorite photos are with this minifigure. A really cute koala piece there. So tons of good stuff in this minifigure series. This little newspaper boy, I just love the slingshot in his mouth. You could almost imagine him yelling extra extra, hear all about it. So what a great lineup. Tough to pick the top one here, but can't say the Orc doesn't deserve it. The shield, in reference to the Orcs from the castle lineup years ago, you could see if you had those minifigures. Now you've got your leader here with the cape and the shield. The spaceman, again, brown torso here, but the Falcon Knight takes the top spot. So apologies if I mentioned the Orc took it. I wouldn't be surprised if he did. I think their price is actually probably pretty close, but the Falcon Knight, again, ties in perfectly with the Black Falcons, and you get this unique colored bow. You get a cape that we don't really see this style of cape. I'm not sure 100% why they did that and not just a regular cape, but again, with this falcon or hawk piece, similar to the seagull piece, great addition to the castle lineup. And she's about $15 Canadian, again, around the $10 mark American. Series 25, almost there. Second last one. This one was a fan favorite for a couple reasons, namely the guy on the side of the box here, a return of Basil the Batlord. If you're an Lego fan from the 90s, you can't help but love the nostalgia of this one. But let's look at some of the other minifigures that it gave us. Really cute mushroom head girl here. Ties nicely with the acorn minifigure from a couple series ago. I love this train minifigure with the reference to the Series 25 there. The goat herder, which brought back the goat. And if you know Lego animals, you know the goat has been, well, the goat, priced over $100, featured in one set. So a lot of people went crazy when they brought back the goat here. Of course, this one does not have any of the spot printing, just a plain white goat, but beautiful animal to have back in the Lego world. And then a couple different unique minifigures here. This Viking warrior was one that we really liked. We loved getting new dog pieces, so the Afghan hound here is really cool. And, you know, picking a top one, tough to say the goat doesn't do great over time, and a great looking minifigure to go with it. But I would say the Batlord has to take this one. You get a new shield. What an excellent remake of the original vampire Basil the Batlord. So he does take the top spot. Not a crazy price right now. So we were lucky enough to find one of them in the wild. If you've tried scanning through the boxes, because they no longer do the packets, now they're in boxes that you can scan the QR code. But you'll notice the boxes are basically picked through. It's tough to find this guy. So we've actually ordered a couple online before the price gets really crazy, which we think it will. And you can see the number of times it's been sold. So huge volume on this guy. Really popular minifigure. One of our favorite minifigures. So between the shield, the printed cape, the helmet piece, the torso print, the arm printing, like, he's got it all. And the most recent minifigure series, another one that is themed and now officially themed as the space lineup. And boy, would we love to see them do something like this for the Western lineup or a Castle lineup. But if you're a space fan, you probably over the moon with this one. Pun fully intended there. We're not the biggest space collectors, but we do have a huge appreciation for it. So the Blacktron minifigure here, Mtron, the space Ice Planet minifigure here. Lots of cool minifigures. The robotic pug, the robotic penguin. They did a great job with this one. They really did. Lots of detail. Very cool lineup. Most expensive one, I mean, it was just released, but I would say the Mtron figure. I think Mtron's one of the most popular space factions. Maybe the Ice Planet one. But yeah, one of these three we would think takes the top spot, but we would be wrong. So if you had a different guess, and if you guessed the nurse minifigure, you would be right. Really surprising. Not sure what's driving this. Is it the fact that she comes with the pink baby minifigure? Is it the translucent arms? Is there something we're missing? I mean, not a crazy price, but still, the fact that she takes the top spot was a bit of a surprise to us. So that's it, guys. That wraps up all the minifigure series from day one to now, going through the price. It's a bit of a longer video. Thank you to those who stayed with us to the end. Let us know in the comments below which minifigures surprised you the most, which ones you have in your collection, and yeah, keep collecting. This next minifigure series lineup that's coming out, we're gonna guess the Wolfpack guy is probably gonna be the one to look out for. But as always, thank you so much for watching. Let us know in the comments again which one's your favorite, which one surprised you, and we'll see you next time.